Looking for an update on the Canon R5 and R6 announcement dates and availability? Or are you looking for more information on the rumored C300 Mark III? Stay tuned as I've got fresh information from Canon rumors on the availability and the announcement schedule.
Delivering informative capability-based reviews and tutorials on camera gear, filming techniques, and content creation.
Hi, it's Simon from The Ordinary Filmmaker. If you're new here, make sure you click the subscribe and like button as it really helps support my channel. And all the links to everything I talk about in this video are in the description down below. This information on the C300 Mark III comes from Canon rumors, and they classify this as a CR2 rumor, meaning that it comes from reliable sources. The C300 Mark II, or even the C300 period, is a nice-sized run-and-gun type camera. It's got a good body, and the C300 Mark III is going to have that same body look and feel, and it's also going to support the same accessories. But it does support Super 35 at 4K 120. It's going to be uncropped in Cinema Raw light format. Now what makes this camera really good is, well, the C300 Mark II had 15 stops of dynamic range, and that's really what sets it apart from its hybrid camera line. It also has dual ISO functions when recording in XF AVC. One thing that was brought up when the R5 was announced is there's no way Canon is going to do this. They're not going to come out with the R5 and give it 8K because it's going to cannibalize their cinema line. I just put a poll out asking, do you believe that the R5 is going to cannibalize the cinema line? Sure, it's got 8K, and while the C300 Mark III is limited to 4K 120, do you think that the R5 is going to take away from that business? Well, let's take a look at the C300 Mark II, what we know about this one. It's got 15 stops of dynamic range. It's got really good ISO performance. You can shoot up to 10,000 ISO at night, and you're going to have very little noise. So you're going to have better quality, you're going to have better ISO performance, you're going to have less noise, you're going to have much better dynamic range. I can't see the R5 cannibalizing this line much at all. Now, the R5 does provide other capabilities, and sure, that'll open up markets and that'll get consumers, but I do not believe that this in any way cannibalizes the C300 line. Sure, it doesn't have 8K, but 4K 120? For pretty well anything that's being produced today for TV shows and movies, 4K is more than enough. In fact, most movies are only shot in 1080 and then upscaled later. So I think it's an awesome camera. I don't know the price yet. The price of the C300 Mark II when it was announced was $16,000, and that was several years ago, so we could probably assume a 10% price increase over that, making it between around $17,000 and $18,000. When I think I was 18, no, I was 16, and I had won the stereo at school. It was a nice stereo, it was really good, it was black, it was sleek, and I brought it home, and it had the same wattage as my father's stereo, and his stereo was really, really nice. And I thought, look, Dad, I've got a better stereo than you. It's got the same wattage, and I thought it was better. It had dual cassette decks and all this sort of stuff. Had more features. But really, the quality was in no comparison to what my father had. Sure, on the surface, some of the specs seemed identical, but the quality is so much different. And I think that's the thing to look at here. No, the R5 isn't a cheap camera, but when it comes to producing cinema-type footage, you're going to stick with the cinema line. You're not going to go with the R5. All right, now let's talk about dates. And this one's a really tough one to nail down. But according to Canon rumors, the announcement dates for all three cameras, the R6, R5, and C300, are kept. That roadmap is still in place. Its availability that I'll talk about in a minute, that's up for question. So the C300 Mark III is going to be announced very, very shortly. The R5 will be announced next, and we're looking at sometime around June. Yeah, I know, we've kind of had an announcement already. So we had the development announcement several weeks back, and then shortly after that we had the announcement by Canon Australia that went into more detail about the 8K, that it would be uncropped and with autofocus. Next is the R6. We've heard almost nothing from Canon. Most of it's been rumors, but we're expecting to have an announcement on the R6 around June. Now, availability. The R5 was supposed to be made available in July, the R6 in June. In terms of what that's going to pan out to be, we don't know. We don't even know if Canon's planning on keeping the same dates that they had on their initial roadmap. Now, they could. But regardless of whether they keep the dates or push them, availability is most likely going to be constrained. The supply chain is under a lot of stress and things are changing daily and weekly. So don't beat me up too much on dates. They are changing daily, and who knows, I might have another announcement for you in a couple of days saying something completely different. But stay tuned. I'm doing my best to keep you guys up to date. This is a very short video, but there was 2 bits of information I want to convey to you today, and that was the C300 Mark II and dates, because a lot of you keep asking me about dates. Last week, I issued a spring challenge. In this video here, I wanted to get everybody off the news, and I wanted you to think of positive thoughts. And what better way than to forget the long, icy, cold grip of winter and focus on spring, where things start greening, the trees start sprouting, birds come back. We start hearing the chirping of birds. And this morning when I woke up, I could just hear robins chirping in the backyard, and it was awesome. I saw a rabbit in the backyard eating some of my flowers. But the flowers are coming up. It's a rainy day here today, and you can see the worms coming out. So spring is very much alive. And so I issued a challenge to you to go out there and film spring, be inspired and send it in. Now, the spring challenge isn't over, but I want to highlight one particular video I got from Liam Joel. Let's take a look. I love how the trees are starting to bud here. Here, the buds are getting a little bit thicker, but they're not ready to sprout yet. I'm smiling already. Oh, look at that. I think those are turtle doves, are they not? Well, I see a robins right now and crows. Oh, and of course, Canada geese. Oh, nothing like seeing green after a long, long winter. Winter lasts about 8 months. We can get snow and ice storms in as late as April. Good job, Liam Joel. Really good job. The spring challenge is far from over. Turn off your radio, turn off the news, go out onto your deck, film what's happening in your backyard, capture as many animals as you can, capture the birds, catch your rabbits, your dogs playing, squirrels in the tree, capture the trees and plants as they come alive. Practice some time lapse and maybe see if you can capture some flowers opening up, because this makes me feel good. It puts a smile on my face. I like winter when it starts, but 8 months of it probably starts around late October, early November here when the snow starts to fall, and snow doesn't usually let up till late April. But I'm encouraged, I'm excited, and I'm happy, and I'm not going to watch news for the next day or two. I'm pretty much held up at home, working from home, so there's really no need to. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe for regular updates of news and rumors, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. All equipment used and notes are placed in the description box, show more box, or down arrow thingy next to the title on the mobile app.